Zoinks! Hey, Stephen Sashen from Xero Shoes here with our monthly Ask Me Anything. Huge apologies for being late. We're having internet problems, and that's why I'm doing this on my phone, which I've never done before. So, first of all, I hope you can hear me because I can't tell if you can or not. I guess I could try and go somewhere and see if you can. If you can't say something, if all you see is my mouth moving but nothing happening, let me know. And I'm FYI, wait, I'm going to click over here to the comments. All right, good. So here's the way this is working. This is a live event. And what that means is that, wait, oh, crap, wait, I got to do something else. Hold on, my apologies. Let's see if this works. I got to switch to a different network, so hopefully you can hear me even better. All right, this is our monthly Ask Me Anything, where you can ask me anything about Xero Shoes, about barefoot running, about barefoot shoes or minimalist shoes. Is there a difference, or are they the same? How do you transition to a minimalist shoe safely and effectively and enjoyably? What am I making for dinner? Or anything else you can think of, I'm here for you. If you're watching this live, you can put in your questions somewhere below. I will see them right there on my phone. Again, I'm doing this on my phone because for some reason we're not connected to my computer. And if you're not watching this live, you can still put in your questions and somebody will answer them from our customer happiness team. So, and again, hey, there we go. You can see in here, thank you, Peter, for letting me know. Phew, what a relief. So if you're new to Xero Shoes, let me do the world's fastest intro to what we're all about here. It's all very simple. It's letting your feet do their job so the rest of your body can do its job. This is about natural comfort, performance, and health. So how do we do this? So I'm going to start by asking some really dumb questions, and I swear they're dumb questions, but you'll go with me, you'll understand where I'm going. So dumb question number one, which is better, weaker, or stronger? I'll answer for you. You don't need to type it in. Oh, you can type them in if you want. That's okay. But which is better, weaker, or stronger? Most people say stronger. So let's talk about what you don't want, which is weaker. If you want to make this thing weaker, how might you do that? And the obvious answer, don't use it. It's use it or lose it. Oh, pardon me one second. Um, yeah, we're having more connection problems. All right, so if you don't use this joint, if you support this joint with like a cast on around your elbow, the muscles, ligaments, and tendons around it get weaker. When is weaker better than stronger? It's not. Well, guess what? You have 33 joints in each one of your feet. So if you have a shoe that doesn't let your foot bend and flex and move, then those joints aren't moving. The muscles, ligaments, tendons are not working. And if you lose that, you're getting weaker. What problems might that cause at the end of the day, the week, the month, the year, or a couple of years? So one thing that we're doing is making shoes, I'm going to demo with this, that let your feet bend and move and flex. Now, if your foot is doing this, get to a hospital. But the point is, we're making it so that all those joints can actually move. And there's research that shows just walking in shoes like Xero Shoes builds foot muscle strength as much as doing an actual exercise program for your feet. Okay, here's dumb question number two. Which is better in your body, being completely unaware of what's going on or being aware of what's going on, other than if you're having surgery? And of course, the answer you probably have in your head, the obvious one, is being aware is better than not being aware. So that's you have 200,000 nerve endings in the sole of each foot so that your brain can feel what you're stepping on or stepping in so it can help you move efficiently, effectively, and enjoyably. First, by letting those bones and joints do things so their muscles, ligaments, and tendons can do things. So the obvious question, how much can you feel through something like this? And the obvious answer, not much or maybe nothing. So we make Xero Shoes low to the ground for balance and agility. And with the sole thin enough, it's going to give you traction and protection, but also that ground feedback that your brain is looking for to know how to help you move effectively, efficiently, and enjoyably. Xero Shoes are also, oh, here's a simple one, which is better, restriction or freedom? Most people go for freedom. Well, if you look at most shoes, they are restricting your toes with this pointy shaped toe box. That's not the shape of your foot, or if it is, it's not supposed to be. So we make Xero Shoes with a wider foot-shaped toe box so your toes don't get squeezed together. If you just squeeze your toes together like that big toe moving in, it reduces circulation in your foot, which is really problematic. So we don't do that either. And totally unrelated, we make Xero Shoes so lightweight, people forget they're even wearing them. We literally had people go to bed still wearing their Xero Shoes because they didn't know that they still had them on. So all right, a couple of questions came in. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to do this on my phone. I'm going to scroll. And any new shoes coming up? Peter asks, yes. We just released our 360 Rally last month, which is technically a court shoe and cross training shoe that is spectacular. So pickleball, tennis, racquetball, whatever, or just cross training in the gym. It's lightweight, it's grippy, it's got great lateral support. So that's that one. We have a shoe coming out, I think next month. People know that I'm really bad at keeping secrets, as in I can't. Called the XT Max for cross train. XT Max. It is the lightest cross trainer ever made, with this unbelievable sole that is super flexible, super lightweight, super durable, and incredibly grippy. It is, I mean, it's just a joke at how comfortable and lightweight that is. So that's coming out next month. Are the Gracies being canceled? Not that I'm aware of. That was from M. Coitz. But feel free to reach out to our customer happiness team, support@xeroshoes.com, and they can tell you when we're getting more in or what's happening with that. But I don't know. I don't think so. Peter, heard a rumor that Lems might be working on a steel toe work boot. Good for them. We are doing the same. New camera setup? No, it's that my computer is not connecting properly to the internet. We're having internet problems, and so I thought we were able to connect, but it's not working properly, so I have to do this on my phone, which, by the way, means that I'm not going to be on here for long because this is really a pain in the butt. All right, and just looking at comments is really, really challenging. Justin says, in 2026, I've run over 300 miles in my yellow Speedforce 2s. I have a goal to run every day this year in my Zeros. The bottom almost wore out. What running shoe should I try next? Well, let me say this. If you've worn out, so we can't violate the laws of physics. So if you've worn out the sole of your Speedforce 2 in just a few hundred miles, first of all, our soles are back to the 5,000-mile warranty. Keep that in mind. Secondly, I'm going to show you the sole of mine. I've been wearing these every day for 2 years. Barely any abrasion. And where the abrasion is basically slightly on the outside edge where I touch, and right about on the ball of my foot, how I land and my foot comes down. So what you might want to do, really, especially if you're going to be running every day, is get some videotape of you, or running, across the camera that way, and take a look. And if you want to send it to me, I'll take a look, because if you are creating, the only way anything wears out is from abrasion. And what you're talking about is excessive horizontal force. Think of it this way: if all you did was lift your foot up and down, up and down, up and down, then there wouldn't be any abrasion, because you're not creating horizontal force. When you're running, a lot of what you're doing when you're running is pretty up and down. That little bit is what's moving you forward. And so if you're getting that kind of abrasion, then most likely, and I'd have to look and see where the abrasion is, then most likely you're doing something where you're either overstriding or pushing too hard on the ground, or landing with your overstriding is landing with your foot too far in front of you. So take a look and see if you discover anything. Film it in slow-mo so you can look at it kind of frame by frame. And again, happy to take a look. Jag Mitreo, do we make shoes with Vibram outsoles? No, because we developed our rubber to be better than the Vibram rubber, frankly. So we have a rubber that we developed called Feel True rubber, and that's what we use on all of our shoes, which is why it's back to the 5,000-mile sole warranty. So there's that. And again, FYI, because this is like a hassle on my phone, we're not going to stick around here too long. So let's really go for Q&A things. Let me think of what else I can tell you that's really fun. Oh, research came out on Friday, just a few days ago. I'll come back to you. Well, I'll wait. Manimal Matt says Speedforce 2 might be the most versatile shoe ever made. I'm partial to it because I designed it, and I agree, and I love it. I'm a competitive sprinter. It's what I race and train in, and what I wear all day, every day. The only time I wear a couple other things. The shoe I wear most often, other than this, is our Alpine fully waterproof snow boot, because when it's cold and I'm walking the dog, I need something like that. And then in the summer, our sandals. But the Speedforce is what I live in. And there are people like David Weck, the guy who invented the Bosu ball, who says it's the best shoe he's ever worn. A lot of people love that one. Anyway, backing up, what was I just saying? So research came out this past Friday, the 13th of February, that it was a long time study about elderly people and balance, because we know that elderly people falling, tripping, breaking a hip, dying, which is what happened to my father, that is an $80 billion problem from insurance companies. And whatever can be done to have elderly people have better balance and better strength and mobility is a big deal. So the research came out. I'm going to see if I can find a link. Let me see if I can do this. This is going to be really tricky because again, with the bad internet connection, I'm going to put a link to the study if I can find it, but I'm not sure if I can. Hold on one sec. Ooh, I think I just did. Anyway, so the study, not too surprisingly, did demonstrate that, wait, I gotta move my phone over here to do this, that wearing a pair of Xero shoes did improve balance and strength in an elderly population, which is unbelievably exciting. So I'm gonna find, oh, come on, where is it? Here we go. I'm gonna find the link, I'm gonna copy it, hopefully this works. Copy link, let me see if I can paste it in here. Oops, fingers crossed that this works. Paste. There we go. So take a gander at that link from about this study on Xero shoes and elderly people. So yeah, a bunch of things. Will there be a podcast on the new research paper? That's a great. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Yes, there will be. And in fact, thank you for saying that. I'm going to make a note to myself right now to contact the lead researcher and get her on the podcast as soon as humanly possible. So thank you so much for that suggestion. Totally brilliant. What's my opinion on Crocs? They exist. um, I've never worn a pair, but suffice it to say, I'm not a big fan of anything that puts this much between you and the ground so you can't feel the ground. I'm not a big fan of anything that doesn't let your foot bend, flex, and move fully. So that's the gist of my opinion. Would I ever make shoes for biking? Something I've been trying to get done for about 5 years. So there's some new people who just come into the company. I was literally talking with them about that in the last 24 hours. So, and actually, I bumped into someone at a trade show last week who works for Trek, and we talked about this also because I have some very interesting ideas about what a good shoe for cycling would be for both mountain biking and road cycling. In part because we have sponsored two cycling teams, one the Hincapie team here in Colorado, and then a Novo Nordisk team. And one of the Hincapie guys made a comment that after he was done with his training ride and got unclipped and took off his cleats, he had a pair of our Prio in his jersey, and he put those on to ride home. And he says, I wasn't even clipped in, and I was putting out more watts than when I was in my training ride. So I thought that was super interesting, and hopefully we are going to be able to do something for that. Okay, a couple more questions came in. Lindsay, I started my first Xero shoe with a 9.5 in 2022. Now I wear a 10.5. My feet are expanding and spreading out well from tight shoes. Thank you. Mine did the opposite. Because I always wore my shoes super loose. So I had really, really crazy flat feet. And as I developed an arch, my foot got shorter, but also then did get wider as well. So different things can happen based on what's going on. Kathy says, LOL, I love feeling the ground with Xero shoes. Oh my gosh. Now suddenly it looks like I have a connection on my computer. This is crazy. So I don't know what that means. Um, Ay, ay, ay. Wait, I don't know how to turn this off. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can back out from there. Leave site. Yeah. Hopefully this won't change anything. Nope, we're still live. Okay, cool. Kathy says, what do I suggest for overpronation in my Prio? Okay, so first things first. Pronation is not inherently a problem. The research is very clear that the only problem with pronation is hyperpronation, where you don't have control over what's happening with your foot and ankle. But pronation itself is not actually a problem, but it's sold as if it is a problem. So the actual answer for what helps with hyperpronation is getting stronger. How do you get stronger? Well, obviously, just walking in Xero shoes can help. If you're doing any bit of running where you're landing midfoot with your foot underneath you, that's making the entire foot and ankle complex more rigid to do that properly. So that can help build strength. And there's also exercises you can do. If you look, oh boy, if you search for BYU, Brigham Young University, BYU foot exercises on YouTube, you'll find the exercise program that was done that was comparing an exercise program to just walking in a pair of Xero shoes. And I think there's some exercises in there to help with the muscles, which start with your longitudinal arch, but also the muscles around the ankle. But the gist is it's all about strength. So that's the thing. There's really nothing that you can wear that cures that and without making you weaker and making it fundamentally worse. So strength is the answer. And anything you do, even like calf raises, anything you can do where you're having to use your foot through a range of motion is going to be helpful. And I know there's other things that I can think of, and they're not coming to my brain right now because it's been a really long day. So that's, I hope that's helpful. Jag Mitroreo says, "What's the furthest you've run in your shoes?" So I'm a sprinter, and I don't run distance. It's not my thing. The longest I've run is about 5K, but I'm not. That's not what I do. I run the 100 meters outdoor and 60 meters indoor. So sprinters, we are not known for running distances. Now that said, we have many, many people who have run ultra marathons, road ultra marathons, and trail ultra marathons, not only in our shoes but in our sandals. We have one couple that I know who did a 7-day stage race across Madagascar, 200, like I think it was about 256 kilometers, and they did that in our sandals, our thinnest sandal, the Genesis. So you can do almost anything in almost every shoe we make. Really, what the only limitation, frankly, is your form and your strength. And when I say strength, I don't want to be misleading. The biggest thing that you need to learn how to do when you're running distance is use less energy, is relax, and that's coming from using your body correctly. So, for example, you don't want to try and keep your heel off the ground. If you land midfoot, let your heel come to the ground. When you're getting your foot off the ground, you want to think about lifting your foot off the ground, relaxing your ankle, and kind of lifting from your hip, like using your hip flexor instead of pushing off the ground. You want to have a cadence that is allowing you to use less energy and less force, which sometimes mean a little bit faster than what you're used to until you get used to a slightly faster cadence. There's a mythological number about 180 steps per minute. It's mythological, but I used to have a paper that showed the force curve of what happens, how much force you're putting in the ground based on your cadence. And what it showed is as you take more steps per minute without running faster, the amount of force was going less and less and less until you started running faster, and then it started going up and up and up. Because sprinters, we put much more force into the ground, mostly because of the ground contact time being really short, and then but there's still the same amount of force, just in a shorter amount of time, which makes that curve go up. So there's that. Today it says I've run a trail marathon. So yeah, we have a lot of people who will tell you about running distance. How's the indoor season going? I only got to race once. I was out of town for a couple of things, so I had an okay time considering I haven't been on the track in about a year. I have two issues going on. One is I have basically a broken spine. I've got, for those of you who are medically inclined, here's the deal. I have a grade 2 L5 S1 spondylolisthesis with a pars defect. So I've got no disc between L5 and S1, and instead of being here, they're like this and out of whack. That causes some neurological stuff sometimes. So mostly okay now. But the other thing, I had a gymnastics injury. I was an All-American gymnast way back when, and 32 years ago, I landed while twisting and heard the foam out of my knee and fell to the ground and went, well, done with gymnastics. I have been totally fine up until about a year ago, and I just looked at an X-ray, and my knee is like bone on the lateral side, and is not great. Now, here's the interesting thing: walking can be painful, and just sitting around can be painful. The times where my knee feels the best is when I'm sprinting. Because when I'm sprinting, if I'm landing with my foot mostly underneath my body and my muscles, ligaments, and tendons are working properly, one thing that your muscles, ligaments, and tendons do is protect your joints. So if I have a slight knee angle and the muscles, ligaments, and tendons are working hard, that's actually the best position for my knee. So I've been getting more training in, and we'll see. I think there might be one more race I can do before the indoor season is done, and it's time to run the 100 in the summer. So I don't know. Wait, hold on. There was a question that was up. Did I ever see Marty Supreme? I did, and I loved it for a lot of reasons, not the least of which being that the way they used music was very, how do I put it? Obvious. Like sometimes there was music from the 80s, sometimes there was music from the 50s. It was often very loud. And so it was like, this is kind of disturbing, but it was done for a reason that I really liked. It was kind of fun. I really enjoyed the movie. Manimal Matt says, smart enough to run distance even if I could only turn back time. I don't know if it's about time. I mean, I've always been a sprinter. In fact, I remember I went to a summer camp. They had I don't know what you call it. It's like a weird race thing where it's not just people running, but like sometimes you had to, carry an egg on a spoon across something. Like a whole bunch of different people doing different activities until as part of this race. I don't remember what that's called, but the last part was a mile and a half race or mile and a half run around the entire perimeter of the camp. And my team, it was a color war thing. My team knew that I was the fastest guy in camp, so they put me in that race. They did not know, nor did I, that I'm really fast in short distances. So when we were playing soccer or playing baseball or anything that was, just sprinting, I could do that. But like I was confused at about the half mile mark. I was going, why am I gassed and just like losing this whole thing? But I have since learned sprinters are sprinters and distance runners are distance runners. So like I was on the track with a bunch of world champion distance runners, and they never really understood me. They used to joke that I was done with my workout before they were done with their warm up. But one day they were doing repeat 200. So they're taking the turn and then running 100 meters. And they were just, then they would walk and do it again. And they would just do this over and over. So I decided to wait. And so they ran by me. I'm at the 100-meter mark. So they're going to run by me and then run for 100 meters. They ran by me. I waited until they got about 30 meters ahead of me. And then I took off and I beat them. And they were like, oh, okay, I get it. So they could just do, 200s at a 30-second pace over and over and over. I could do it at a 24-second pace, once or twice, and then I'm done. So anyway, Amber Coates, your shoes rock. I'm on my fourth pair. What's your best shoe for being on your feet all day at work? Would the retros work? Any of them. Frankly, any of them. We have people who are working in Amazon warehouses. We have nurses. We have doctors. We have people who cut hair. What's the thing about being on your feet all day is really, again, it's about kind of building strength. And so, like the Amazon warehouse people that I know, that was my favorite story is that they said, I got your shoes because they used to be like, at the end of every day, what do I need to do to get my feet ready enough to handle tomorrow? And then someone suggested Xero Shoes. And they said the first week or so, it felt like I was just going to the gym. My feet were really sore, like I went to the gym. But after a week, and this is unique to them, your distance and time may be different. Listen, then I just felt like at the end of the day, I was totally fine. So any of the shoes are totally fine. The retro stuff is great. I mean, I can't think of anything that people don't wear when they're on their feet all day. We just came back from a trade show where we were on a cement floor from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m., 4 days in a row. And at the end of the day, totally fine. Everyone's wearing a different shoe. So whatever you like is the easiest thing I can say. Cameron says, hey, I'm out here playing pickleball in my 360 rallies. They solved my plantar fasciitis. Very happy to hear that. A regular shoe can cause plantar fasciitis because by the time you land with your foot flat, that's where your plantar fascia are fully extended instead of using them properly to hold your foot in a strong position. And then when you put that kind of stress on the plantar fascia when they're fully extended, that can lead to plantar fasciitis. When you're using your foot naturally, might not cause that problem. Amber Coast says, I currently wear the Preoneos and do just fine. There you go. Oh my gosh, what else? What else? What else? If anybody wants to know about what I made for dinner, because that's sometimes a conversation, I'm just going to tell you anyway. Leftovers. But what are the leftovers? I make pizza every week from scratch, and the leftovers are a artisan style New York pizza, which is kind of a cross between a New York pizza and a Neapolitan pizza. So big, poofy, amazing crust, really thin. That part of the crust, and then really thin crust that part, and phenomenal. And then Sicilian, which is the exact opposite, super thick and super fluffy. So think like blowing up focaccia with a really nice oniony flavorful sauce. So that's that. Passive 101, the Prio All Day is an amazing shoe. I wear them all day and it's been enough softness for me to be working full 8 to 10 hour shift. New to minimal shoes. Now the Prio All Day also has a slip resistant sole. So that's another thing, depending on where you're working on your feet all day long, something to consider. And Kathy, you were right about Yum. I have ruined my friends for pizza because they can't go out and get pizza anymore because I can out pizza them. And if you want to know, I learned a lot of what I know from pizza from a guy named Charlie Anderson. And he just started a not inexpensive, but really amazing pizza class. So you can find Charlie Anderson. It's like Charlie Anderson Cooking on his website, and I think that might be his handle on Instagram and YouTube as well. I'm not sure, but Charlie Anderson Cooking, look for him. Can I grab that pair on my left that are gray with red and blue? Gray with red and blue. Wait, where? That's my left. So that's my left. Oh, you mean, wait, no, that's not red and blue. Oh, like, hold on. Did I get the right one? Is this the one? Is this amber? Is this what you're talking about? Did I get it right? If I did, What would you like to know? This is our Prio with a color combo that we call Lunar. And it's similar to, well, anyway, the Prio is our best-selling shoe. It's the first go everywhere, do everything shoe. People run in it, they hike in it, they do CrossFit in it, they weight it all day, every day. But this is the only one that looks like it was grayish. It's actually kind of a, I don't know what to call it. Gray is not quite right. It's called Lunar White. So is that the one you're talking about? If so, there it is. And if it's something different, then let me know, because I don't see anything else that's gray with red and blue. Cameron, my favorite pair, my wife bought me that exact colorway. I got to tell you something funny about this. When our former chief product officer, he has since retired, Dennis Driscoll, when he came up with this colorway, my wife and I both looked at him and went, I don't know, man. That seems a little, I don't know. And it became the bestseller. So there's times where I am wrong and I'm thrilled to be wrong, and that was one of them. There's times where I like being right, but I'm happy being wrong when it works for everyone's advantage. Yeah, they're super, super cool. And again, like the Speed Force variation on a theme, just blue and this kind of neon yellow thing. Passive 101. I didn't get the boots yet, but I'm in Wisconsin considering the Xero winter boot. How warm are they, and do they have okay grip from walking outside on tile floors like going into a store? Okay, so the warmth thing is a tricky question because it depends on humidity. It depends on if you're wearing a sock or not. It depends on your feet. What I can tell you is I wear, do I have one here? I wear the men's version of the Alpine boot went with bare feet when it's 10 below zero, but Colorado's kind of dry. And I'll be out for an hour, hour and a half when I'm walking the dog. Not a problem. We also have a version of this that's the Alpine pull on that has like 200 grams of insulation in it. Very similar. And in terms of okay grip, like going into a store, I've never had any problem with any slippage going, inside on tile or on a or like at Costco or anything like that. If things are like ice is ice again, we can't violate the laws of physics, so you want to be attentive to that. But I haven't had a problem with these, and so now some people have used like yak tracks, depending on where you are. If you have a bunch of snow slash ice, they use yak tracks, or we had a thing on our website. I'm not even sure if they're available right now. Wait, let me see if I can find this out. I don't. We have such a bad internet connection. Hold on. Xeroshoes.com, ice walkers. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, let me see if these are available. If they are, they are. So I'm going to throw, there's a product on our website called Ice Walkers, and it's a felt thing that you can attach to your shoe. Here, I'm going to put a link in here. That is great if you need something that is spiky. Hold on, let's see if I can do this. Pardon for the fact that my pasting is not as good as I want it to be because I'm doing it on my phone. But take a gander as well. They're really, really cool. The shoe mold to your foot, and they're awesome. I was there. Jessie Driscoll. Oh, I'm so happy to hear you. I'm happy chatting to you as well. She loves Xero Shoes. Jessie is a ringer. I mentioned her husband Dennis just a little while ago. He's the guy who designed this. Just thinking of you guys the other day because I miss you, Jessie. And you guys have to get your. I don't want to sit around for part here. The phone, my phone. Sorry that having a good internet connection. No idea why it went bye. If you have any last questions from it, and I'll do those, and then we'll call it a day. Jive329 says, I have the Ridgeway Brilliant Boot. All my shoes are Xero. My mom's Xero. She's not even into barefoot yet. That I said today, my favorite thing when someone said, favorite thing is when somebody's super fun. Yeah, I don't know what is going on with lost retain. Could you hear and just I know on my end, but that could be still frozen. Boy, that kind of answers everything. So anyway, can you see me? Not see me? Give me a something. Anybody? Let me know what's happening. In theory, it looks like it's working, but I can't really tell. Um, I think it's a bad connection over here. Oh no, this is really annoying. Yeah, I think I got a bad connection over here. So, in fact, I'm not even sure if you can see the message that I got a bad connection. So, I'm going to do this. Given this is bad, given the bad connection, oh, coming in and out. Oh, man, I don't know what, I wish there was something I could do about it, but there unfortunately is not. So, pixelated but working. Passive one-on-one. I can see you pixelated, but it's still working. Okay, look, I don't want to keep doing this because the connection thing is so bad. So let me wrap it up by first saying, first of all, thank you all for being here, dealing with this. A lot better now, but even still, it's going to go at any moment. I don't know what's happening. I want to thank you. I always say this because it's true. When Lena and my wife, Lena and I started Xero Shoes, 16 years ago, we never imagined that we'd be here now and have helped over 2 million people discover the fun and benefits of natural movement. We're really, really thrilled that you guys have been part of that and spread the word. Most of the growth of Xero Shoes has come from people like you telling other people. I'm glad it seems to be back now, but I don't want to risk it. Um, and also, just a reminder, the 360 Rally, the latest shoe we launched for both court sports, pickleball, tennis, racquetball, whatever you do on a court, and everything else you do in a gym. Coming up soon, the XT Max. Be on the lookout for that in a few weeks. The lightest training shoe that you've ever had, cross training shoe, utterly amazing. All our winter stuff is available now. Happy Mardi Gras from New Orleans. That's from John Dell. I wish we were there. We had an amazing time for our anniversary in New Orleans. I have an incredibly, wait, I'm going to tell you the story and then I'm going to go about that one. So we are getting a po' boy at, oh my God, what's the place? I just blanked on the name of the place. It's really famous. It's like a one-word name. Way I don't even know the neighborhoods. It was over by Trumaine. I can't remember the name. Anyway, we're there at a just in the middle of nothing, and we're at this folding table having a great po' boy, and these people sit down opposite us, and it turns out it's people who are from one of our competing footwear brands who were in New Orleans for a day and happy there. It was crazy. So it was the weirdest thing. They're from the UK, and we just bumped into each other at the same po' boy shop, at the same place, at the same table. Ericsson shoes wider. Well, we make them wider than most shoes, and they handle most people, and different shoes handle it with different ways. We are always looking to make sure. Thank you. It was the Parkway. We're always looking to make shoes that fit the widest collection of people. Foot size, or really volume, is on a bell curve. If we make things too wide, people who are too small can't wear them, and vice versa. Many of our shoes stretch. So like the Speed Force, when you put it on, it might feel one way, and the next day or the next week, it'll fit your foot. So it depends on the volume of your foot. I wish that we make something perfect for everyone, but that doesn't work. When people say, why don't you just make a wider version? That would mean having twice as many shoes to manage, and we literally don't have the money or the warehouse space to do that. There are multi-billion dollar companies that do that, but we're not in that situation yet. La Mexicana 1074 says hi back at you. That way you know this is for real. But again, we've been having some real connection problems, and it makes me, I just am in pain that I'm having to do this on my phone to begin with, let alone with a real device where I can really talk to you. And my phone is starting to overheat. So once again, I want to thank you all. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our customer happiness team. They're at support@xeroshoes.com. If you have any requests or feedback or suggestions, go to xeroshoes.com/feedback and leave them there. That's how everyone on the team learns what you're thinking and how we can be helpful. And Randall says he's pissed. I don't know why, but I don't know how I can deal with that. And if you have something that we can be helpful with, Randall, then I don't know what's going on. Now it says that we're not even connected. Oh boy. So yeah, Randall, if there's something our customer happiness team can do to be helpful, then reach out to them, support@xeroshoes.com, or the phone number's on our website. People are always happy to be helpful whenever they can. And what else? What else? What else? I think that's it. So as I like to say at the end of all of these, and I like to say at the end of everything. Oh, I forgot. People sometimes remind me. I always forget to mention. I do have a podcast. There's hundreds of episodes where I'm talking to people about natural movement in every way that you can imagine, not just running or walking or hiking. Lots of other things as well. And I'm going to copy it in here. Hold that thought. Join. There we go. That's it. Now let me copy paste it in here. It's called the Movement Movement, and you will hopefully enjoy that. So check that out at the link that I have. Come on, there we go. That I've just pasted at the bottom, and yeah, enjoy that as well. And Pastor 101 says, thanks for making these shoes. They really help my feet. Happy to hear it. This is our whole goal, is just to go out and help people have natural comfort, performance, and health. And we are doing the best we can to do that in every way we can. We really appreciate all of your support and all of your suggestions, even when if there's something that's a problem. Our goal is to try and solve it and make that better for everybody. But most importantly, do me a favor, go out, have fun, and live life feet first.